Perfect. Hello and good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome. We are here today gathered for the launch of Life, an app that brings together various aspects for women to get together, to meet, to greet, to engage, to have and find safe spaces which are without judgment, to be able to seamlessly connect. With me, I have today the pleasure of Rajpreet Kaur and Deepali Naair in conversation with each other. We also have our team of Divya and Saras who've joined us. So for everybody who's joined this live stream on YouTube, just a quick note, the app is now up and running on the Android Google Play Store. In a week's time, we will be out with the iOS store as well. So all of you can go pick up the app, look at it, engage with it, sign up for it. If you're a woman, the experience is incredibly curated to ensure that you find sounding boards, that you find career advice, relationship advice, and a lot more, all of that on the saycheese.life app. Without further ado, let me now bring into our conversation, which is our first conversation of the many that we start as part of our Unstoppable Women series. Two women who are going to be in conversation with each other. And it's my pleasure to invite and welcome Deepali Naair, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for IBM in India and South Asia. She's also a podcast host to a successful series called Being CEO with Deepali Naair. Before IBM, she led marketing and digital at IIFL Wealth Group of companies. She was also a non-executive member of the board at IIFL Wealth Finance. She's held leadership positions with HSBC, L&T Insurance, and Mahindra Holidays, and has worked at Marico to manage brands like Saffola and Medicare. She has managed sales, marketing, and customer service leadership roles and has been on the Impacts list of India's 50 most influential women 3 years in a row, on the IAMAI CMO Super 30 list, and in 2019 and 2020. She's also been awarded Economic Times Tech CMO of the Year honor in 2020. She's been elected to the Governing Council of Internet and Mobile Association of India in 2021. She was awarded CMO of the Year at CMO Leadership Awards hosted by Accent Infomedia. She also won Marketing Team of the Year award at the Economic Times Tech Marketer Awards and was also listed in Top 50 Marketers list presented by Business World in 2021. Deepali is well recognized in the industry and is on the Academic Advisory Council of IIM Udaipur, BITSOM, Nirma University, and SP Jain Institute of Management. She's a social media influencer of significance with over 22,000 followers on LinkedIn and 8,500 plus followers on Twitter. Deepali, it's a welcome honor that we are granting to have you amongst us today. Our pleasure to welcome you to the Say Cheese space that we've created. So looking forward to your conversation. Welcome.
My pleasure to be here, Shreya and Rajpreet. I'm looking forward to this conversation too. The topic is very interesting.
Perfect. So in conversation with Deepali, we have none other than Rajpreet, who's our founder. After a successful corporate career of 16 years, she straddled both corporate treasuries at Tata Consultancy Services and Bharti Group and the banking industry with HSBC, Standard Chartered, and State Street. Rajpreet discovered her calling as an entrepreneur and founded Say Cheese in 2020. She's always been very passionate about contributing towards an inclusive world, the coming together of her rich corporate experience, and this passion resulted in the launch of Say Cheese, India's emerging femtech platform that provides personalized solutions towards challenges faced by women in career, relationships, and health within a trusted environment. Say Cheese endeavors to combine the transformative power of people, cutting-edge technology, psychology, and neuroscience to drive behavior change at scale, both at a personal and organizational level. So Say Cheese endeavors to combine all of this. And Rajpreet, who's an MBA from MDI Gurgaon, an FRM and a computer science engineer, completed her entrepreneurship program from Wharton and is a gold medalist from IIFT Ministry of Commerce. She's a certified counselor and an NLP coach. She's currently pursuing her International Coaching Federation certification and is envisioning to make coaching a mainstream transformative service in India. She's also researching the field of neurosciences and applications of other behavioral techniques like transaction analytics, Get Salt, and NLP. She's married to Amandeep and is blessed with a lovely daughter, Bunny, and she believes that if you want to fly fast, fly alone. But if you want to fly far, fly together. In conversation are these two incredible women who are going to bring to us so many nuances of everything that this is going to bring to the table. So over to you, Rajpreet and Deepali. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, another incredible woman, I must say, and thanks for coming in today morning. And Dipali, we really welcome you to the platform, and it's more than a privilege and an honor to have you with us today doing the inaugural session. So, I mean, I was hearing, and it's like a real wow, so many awards and accolades. And on a lighter note, you must be like having a whole room full of trophies and honors.
I think I need to convince my team to mention less of them.
So I'm sure there are many more. And so Dipali, today's conversation is on a topic which is again, quite close to my heart now, which is networking. So, we want to hear your thoughts on what really networking means to you.
To me, it's about learning actually. If I look at myself, I consider myself to be a lifelong learner. And one of the key pillars of learning is learning from other people. If you can learn from other people's habits, successful experiences, and failures, I think that's the best way of learning. So to me, networking is about that. And the second and very interesting thing about networking also is that I've been in sales and marketing all my life. One of the key pillars there is knowing your customer or knowing consumer. And the kind of people that I'm doing conversations with during networking are all people largely in the corporate world. You learn a lot about your customer, about trends in general, on the industry side, again through networking. So to me, these are the two things which I think of first when I think of networking. Of course, I'm very interested in people as a subject. There was a point of time in college when I wanted to study psychology. So I think this is also an offshoot of that.
Sure, Dipali. I think absolutely I could connect to that as I'm right now pursuing my master's in psychology. So, yes. But yeah, I do get it. And, but sometimes Dipali, networking may not come so naturally to another person.
That's right.
So, so what do you think, the person should do if it's not coming too naturally to her?
Okay, first let me just explain how I got lucky. And this is not about purposeful aspect of it, but certain instances in life just convert you like that. So I think by the time I finished college, I'd lived in some 6 7 different cities. I'd changed a couple of schools and colleges. Now as a result of that, you could become an introvert, and get into your own self, or you could be a person who goes out there and does it. The second coincidence that happened is that I think I was somewhere in grade 10 when I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie.
Dale
Very
Carnegie.
old book, but very interesting. If you ask me just now, I wouldn't be able to quote anything from there, but I know that it left a very strong impression on me just at the brink, at the time when I was on the brink of going into college, and stuff like that. So that those two things happened then. And then, when I started working, Rajpreet, I discovered that I'm a woman. Okay, you discovered that you're different. There is no positive or negative to it. It's not that there is a bias against you or bias for you. Depending on circumstances, both the things happen. There are times when it is advantageous to be a woman, and there are times when it is disadvantageous to be a woman. But one thing I discovered is that I'm a woman, and that it's not commonplace. When I started working 28 years ago, there was no conversation on diversity and inclusion. There was no, I was pretty much the first woman to do this. I was, one of the first two women management trainees that Tata Motors ever hired. So there were a lot of firsts that happened. On account of that, I also learned over the first 10 years of my working life when I did not network at all. Okay, when I did not network at all, is when I discovered that men network differently, and I don't think that's going to work for me. Okay, so I've been on the other side in the first 10 years where I discovered that I had no networks. Whereas men would do the smoke breaks, they would, bond over dinner, they would bond over drink sessions, they would just bond. There were quite a lot of them also. Whereas I could not bond even if I wanted to, because there were hardly any women around, right? And it was not always very easy for a person who doesn't smoke and doesn't drink, to bond on smoking breaks and, the evening get-togethers. I got I got an opportunity, when I was in HSBC. This was back in 2006. By that time, I had finished 13 years of working. Okay, to become part of a jury for SAIF. In fact, I took out that card recently, and I realized that, what is the kind of things that we did back then. So this is something new to me. I met a set of people over there whom I didn't know at all from anywhere. When I was with HSBC, Bombay Management Association invited me to, volunteer for something that they wanted done on Women's Day. And I think that's where the journey started. I at least discovered that by being on juries, by volunteering for, industry associations, I could build a network of people professionally, who were not necessarily my colleagues. Otherwise you could network only with your colleagues. So that's how I spread my wings into knowing other people in the industry. And I still to date strongly recommend to every woman that you look at please doing jury duties for your industry and specialization. Please look at volunteering for industry associations. Be very active over there. Teach at B schools. You notice that I'm on the Academic Advisory Council. I actually recommend my formula to everyone. And, a lot of the times, sorry for the long monologue, Rajpreet, but, a lot of times I get asked this question of being an introvert or an extrovert, because I'm seen to be an extrovert and people think it comes easy to me. But what I say is that, when you're volunteering professionally or you're a judge, professionally, it does not matter whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. What matters is what you bring to the table. You're on mute, Rajpreet.
So absolutely, Deepali. Thanks. So, it's been a pleasure listening to that. So 13 years, it took to really, be able to, for you to really stretch those wings. And I mean, I could really relate to it because even I believed earlier on in my career that my work will speak for itself. Why do I really need to go that extra mile to really build relationships? Or even if it is without an agenda, why not really go that extra mile? And then, of course, after becoming a mother, you're always short on time. So, so when I was really building this networking app and this platform, the whole idea was also to not, we don't have to spend 10-15 years to really understand and know about the power of networking.
Yes.
So, what is one essential element needed to build long-term connections as per you?
I've said this before at one of the forums. I'll say it in Hindi first and then explain. Long-term relationship building is like neki kar darya mein dal. If you believe in pay it forward, it'll come back to you, but you have no idea where it'll come back. Or think like the Gita, which is that you do do the good karma and don't worry about the fruits, right? I think long-term relationship building has to be for the sake of long-term relationship building. It is about being able to stay in touch with other people who may be subject matter experts in some areas that you want to learn about. I think that's a maximum benefit that you can think of in the short term to build a long-term relationship. Once again, I'm going and talking about learning, but yes, I may, have a focus towards building long-term relationships with people who are, established authorities in their work. And that complements me. I am not necessarily an expert in that area. So, for example, it is great to know somebody who's an absolute authority in English and is an English professor. It is great to know somebody who does, who's done probably 1,000 book reviews, and reads far more than I do and is able to compare, those books. These are people that I know. Okay. It is, it is great to know somebody who knows everything there is to know about mobile marketing. And because that person lives with, that space, which is professional knowledge for me. Or it is great to build a long-term relationship with a person who knows everything there is to know about ad fraud, because which is again a micro area, within the area that I work in. So I think that's the way I look at building long-term relationships, which is there should be nothing in it for me at the time that I start the relationship, except for the fact that you are among intellectuals who will enhance your knowledge, and they're also a bit like the KBC's call a friend, right? Phone call to a friend to sort you out of something. Now, if I want to know something on ad fraud or mobile marketing or English language or whatever, these are the people who are now, because they're friends, available on a call to me saying, okay, tell me this. I think that's the only benefit that I derive out of long-term relationship building. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
No, absolutely. In fact, as you were speaking, I was also suddenly reminded of this individual who was working with me at Bharti. And when I was just leaving one day from work, and the person was stuck in something, and I just had to drop my bag and just immediately help him out. And after that, we never really interacted. But 10 years later, when I was looking at some help in Say Cheese, he just emerged in my environment and he went that extra mile to help me out. So
Yeah.
when you spoke about karma, you spoke about, you do things, but they just come back to you. So you help others and it just comes back. So that's so very nicely explained, Deepali. If you look at some of the stats, I was reading that women are 20%, less likely to have those diverse and strong networks. So, what do you think really is the reason behind this, and what can be done about it?
I will only provide a hypothesis for the reason I've not done research in that domain for me to know, but I think working women at least have a lot more on their plate. They have both, the societal context has ensured that they both need to be seen to be doing work, as well as seen to be doing work at home. I think that leaves lesser time on their table. They are the primary caregivers, both for the elders in the family as well as for the children. So that's possible. I think third is the safety aspect, of being able to be away at nights and so on and so forth. So there could be multiple reasons for that. I think what could be done about it is that be purposeful about the time that you have, which you want to devote for networking, or the kind of people that you want to, network with. I would imagine more purposefulness, and which is why I said that find your own way. I'm not sure what is the right way for everyone, but I will reiterate what worked for me is being very, very active at industry associations, jury duties, and in the academic world that I know.
Sure.
And of course, be willing to sacrifice. uh, you know think about it. Can you give up 4 hours of a moving going experience with your family for attending a function of an industry association? I think you've got to make those choices.
Yeah, it's a inside out, and overcoming that entire barrier that we have, for ourselves. So, Dipali, do you think that there is some more extra ingredient really required to network effectively?
I don't know whether an extra ingredient is required or not to network effectively, but if there was safety, involved in the people that you could network with, if they, if instead of me discovering whether this person is worth networking or not, I had a ready list of people, I think I would be able to network with many more people. I don't know. That sounds very esoteric, but yeah, since you asked me an extra ingredient, I wish I had that brush, because you want to network with people who are knowledgeable, who are trustworthy. Trustworthiness is also an aspect, because you want to do a conversation with them in a safe place, right? Men or women, right? So I wish there was a safety index that came with people.
Yeah, like a lie detector or a safety indicator, maybe.
Yeah.
So, in fact, on our Say Cheese app, while it's right now just for women, we don't record any conversations unless the user chooses to really live stream it on YouTube.
Sure.
So we are trying to create that safe space, but I know what you're saying in terms of even the psychological safety and
Yes.
respect around confidentiality as well. So, Deepali, like I've also learned it, the power of networking as I went along on my journey. I started reading things like, it's not really only about what you know, but who you know that ultimately also determine, how successful, or how well known you are. So, what is the one thing that you would like to see a change in with respect to networking?
I think this who you know bit. I wish I had known this in 10 years ago. I think in the last 2 years is when I'm discovering this, that, who you know also matters. I have been very non-purposeful about the who you know aspect. I have an eclectic group of friends, who feed the curiosity in my mind. And like I told you, the purpose has been learning. But I have never been purposeful in saying that, listen, I should network with people who can fund my business tomorrow. I've never been purposeful about so I don't think I have a VC in my network at all. Maybe two or three, but not, that is accidental, but not too many. Or I have networked with people who can give me jobs tomorrow. Not necessary, not at all. I think I've just naturally networked with people. And Rajpreet, I'm okay with that actually, because I think there is a certain authenticity to the relationships and friends that I have. In fact, I don't even use the word network. I tend to use the word my friendship circle, in that sense, people that I'm friends with. So I'm not so sure about this whole statement of who you network with, because it sounds I think too practical, too methodical, and a little bit not authentic to me. But that's my point of view.
Sure, sure, absolutely. I think, yes, authenticity is very important. And in any relationship, be it a professional, personal, any relationship. So the more authentic the relationship, the more what you really believe in what is in the relationship, and the same is displayed outside and without an agenda, definitely. I think that really makes the connection long lasting if it's not really a purpose driven thing. But as long as you're doing it the right way and with the right intentions, I think it can be looked at in a very constructive way as well. And I've seen that those benefits. In fact, Say Cheese itself is an example. I could build this organization only ultimately because of networking. People just started emerging in the environment as Buddhas and helping us move forward. So
Wow.
that all came in, like, for example, Saraswati, who's here, just as an example, as this, I worked with her in HSBC and she just emerged. So, it's just that, the whole message that possibly also that, we would like to drive is that we have to come out of our, shells and just be willing to engage with people and engage with their highest versions. So, thank you so much, Deepali, for all your views and thoughts. And I would invite Shreya also to share her thoughts and summarize. Shreya, you're there?
Yes, very much. I'm just connecting back. So I think I love what Deepali said about, engaging, about picking up on opportunities, about showing up for all those that come to you, whether it's engaging with students, whether it's engaging with communities. I think it's so important to sort of widen that net and, craft your story in some form. So thank you so much, Deepali. What I loved about the conversation is the fact that there is this touch of authenticity that both of you brought in, which I can't stress enough on, which is about being your authentic self, no matter where you are, whether it's personally or professionally or whatever, the space is. Last few questions to both of you would be, what is it that you think are 2 or 3 of the challenges that women in today's world really have to chase after any of these that you spoke about? And we'll close on that note.
I think one of the challenges that I see, and there is a study that we've done at IBM, about diversity and inclusion, Rajpreet. Happy to send that over to all of you to read. One of the things that they're talking about is that you need men to be involved, as mentors, as sponsors, as people that you network with, right? And those, I think, is a second level of difficulty that you face with. You make, I can tell you that about myself. I make friends far more easily with women, and that safety that I spoke about totally exists when it comes to women, but I think you develop a relationship in the network with the men over a period of time. It takes longer, and you definitely need men to be involved, to be the champions of anything that women are doing, for women to be successful.
So I think that's a very important point, Deepali, and we should not underestimate the importance of that, because ultimately we are working with men. What I would also like to add, Shreya, is that I think it's also a growth mindset that we need to bring to the table, because a lot of the challenges that we face are actually created by our own thinking and the barriers that we put for ourselves. So I think moving ahead with that growth mindset and an inside out approach, and just being open to the possibility of trying something new. The next time we receive an invitation and we have to go, and just being open to that, I think that can also really help go a long way.
Wow, summing that up beautifully. I think the growth mindset.
Shreya, I just want to add
Yes,
to what Ashley
yes.
said. And she said, so Carol Dweck's book, on this whole growth mindset,
Yes.
I strongly recommend. The second
Yes.
book that I recommend is Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. I think both the books are, very interesting for everybody to read. Back to you.
Yes, absolutely. I think that sums it up beautifully, because when you start looking at yourself as not just a cog in the wheel, but actually crafting the journey of your own life in the form and manner that you envision for it to be, and setting your goals accordingly, I think it just opens up for you. And of course, show up, like Rajpreet said. Opportunities can come knocking, but they won't do much if you don't show up to them. So thank you so much. It was beautiful. What a lovely kickstart to our first session. Thank you both, Deepali and Rajpreet. Deepali, thank you for coming here, spending your time with us. We hope to keep bringing you back with all of these insights and all of these amazing snippets of I wouldn't call it advice, but I think life lessons that you bring to the table. It was lovely to hear from you. And thank you, Rajpreet, for moderating that so beautifully. Thank you, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajpreet and Shreya, and all the best to you, women's team, for Say Cheese. May you be more successful every week, every month, every year.
Thank you so much, Deepali. And we would love to have you back once the iOS launch happens, so that the next session we do with you is actually on the app.
Done. Okay, Rajpreet, Shreya, Saraswati, Divya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deepali. Thank you. Bye-bye. For all those of you who are watching us live on YouTube, that was session 1. And imagine if this is the first of 100+ conversations that are panning out in the next couple of months. You can imagine the kind of insights and the kind of depth and the kind of range of women who are going to be coming and speaking to us.